more without you. That's you too. Dan Radio style. Hope everybody out there is having themselves a great day. Loving it. Gonna do another quick Goddard show. It's been a while. Someone had a request. I love it because I've been just having some fun lately doing stuff I'm interested in and not necessarily as popular. But nonetheless, I'm having a lot of fun. That's the important part, I think. In the big picture, they're like little mini vacation shows, if you will. So, yes, I remember when. Awesome technique. Someone asked me about this. This is truly my first time reading up on it. And I love it. So a little bit of a I remember when Dan Radio style. I guess we're going to go with it on. First off, I want to remind, I did a show, I don't know, a while back that kind of really specifically talked about this, but from science perspectives, and I don't want to go dig up the articles, but memories of imagination and memory happen in the same part of the brain. So when you create imaginal scenes, you're using the memory sector of your brain. And I bring that up because it's a very important distinction, because memories aren't necessarily, and this has been proven as well, aren't necessarily as solid and perfect as we oftentimes think. In fact, they've even had studies too with criminal investigations and all that stuff, that witnesses testimony oftentimes is, they're very suggestive. You can say things to somebody and it can alter their memory. So again, they use the same section. So that's beautiful because you can use imagination to create memories. And to me, this isn't necessarily what we're doing in the I Remember When, but the aspect of it is kind of tied into me. And it's very, very cool because what you're doing is you're essentially imagining, you're imagining, I guess, yeah, from the way I was reading it. You kind of imagine from where you're at right now, and you're like, I remember when, and you basically remember the opposite of what you'd like to be the case. Now, I'm going to get into more specifics on that, so please stick with me a little bit, but I do want to throw a couple caveats out there that I think are very, very, very important to pay attention to. One, when they say this, and this is no joke, but it's said in movies, and it's an awesome quote, with great power comes great responsibility. This is an extremely powerful tool. Using it incorrectly, and I don't mean incorrectly in the sense like you made a mistake. No, you'll be fine. Using it to wish harm on another is bad, because nowadays the way things are, not like back in Goddard's days, truly, karma is in a different place nowadays. It happens very, very, very much quicker back at you. So if you're sending negative out to people, you're getting negative back very quickly. If you're sending powerful negative out to people, you are going to get powerful negative back. So make sure you're doing this in the positive sense, which we will cover for sure. But again, this is very powerful. And again, you don't want, this is the crazy Dan. Sorry, just a grain of salt if you need to, but, just be careful. But remembering when something, so we're trying to look for a situation. We're going to start with some of the basics, the fun ones, the things that actually apply to a lot of people, and even people looking for a specific person. But we're going to kind of finish off with that one because that's always fun too, right? That's a great topic. But money. So you're going to think about if you're trying to manifest more money in your life and you're trying to imagine riches. So you kind of put yourself in this situation where you sort of imagine having things around you that are really awesome. And then I remember when I didn't have money. I think Agnes called this at one point too, a show we did where it's like looking back on the past, if you will, from where you're at right now, right? Like you're imagining yourself in that situation and then you're looking back from that situation when you didn't have it. But the remembering when concept, without getting too terribly lost in that, which is very cool, by the way, you can still kind of do it from the now and just sort of shut your eyes almost and go, I remember when I didn't have any money. Imagine just the feeling of that words alone, not necessarily imagining all the stuff around you, though that does help. Don't lose sight of that. That's like extra level, right? That's black belt level. If you're not ready for black belt level, cool, don't worry about it. Start off with, I remember when I had no money. I remember when I was poor. I remember when it was top ramen for dinner, and if I was lucky, I put a hot dog in it. By doing that, you create this separation almost. It's a powerful tool. You create this, I remember when it was like that. Like, it's not like that right now, but it was, right? I remember when. It's very powerful from that standpoint. So from, trying to manifest anything, a job. I remember when I didn't have that job, that I was really loving what I was doing and making really good money, and I got to travel a little bit. Like, define what a good job is to you. Is it just literally an 8 to 5, 8 to 3, 8 to 4, whatever, that so you can just get home? So maybe you're taking a 30-minute lunch, right? And other than that, you can kind of control your hours, whatever. Or is it, a job that opens up the world to you? Whatever it is that you're interested in, imagine or say, basically, I remember when I didn't travel with my job and it really wasn't cool. I remember when I didn't make good money. I remember when I was doing stuff I didn't like doing. I remember when you can break all the little pieces off of what you're trying to manifest, like the good parts, right? Because again, we're trying to focus on what we'd like to create, but here is a way to kind of almost back into, I guess that's what it is to me, kind of, because again, I'm not real typically fond of focusing on the negative, right? Because I just, what you focus on brings you more. But this is like a back-ended approach, and that's where it's kind of brilliant by Goddard, I think, in my opinion. His take on this is really kind of cool. It's basically, because we're already in a doubt cycle, right? Maybe, right? This is kind of why we're looking for new topics, right? We're already sort of maybe having doubt from time to time. We'll keep it on the easy side. Here's a way that you can almost doubt yourself into the good, right? You almost you're like, whoa, 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 right? Like a little dance move, because ultimately that's where you want to go, but you're kind of doubtful. So you're doing it this way. Like, I remember when I was poor. I remember when I was broken up with someone, like, and you're just like backing into this, like, I've got her now, she's mine, right? And very, very powerful kind of way to get through like, I know my mind can handle the fact that it's not currently with me right now. I'm not currently in possession of my specific person or my job or this money that I'm trying to manifest, right? But I remember when I was poor, and I'm certainly better off now. And again, you're just backing into it. Like, I don't have a lot of room, evidently, and obviously, but needless to say, I'm trying my best for dramatic effect. Please do not try this at home, even though this is my home. Okay, so again, imagining when. So when you don't have your person, I remember when we broke up. I remember when we, and it's, again, it's got to be on the negative of what you're trying to accomplish. It was when it wasn't. So you're kind of looking at whatever it is that's bothering. I remember when she didn't text me soon enough. I remember when they didn't communicate. I remember when they didn't call. I remember when they told me I remember when they blocked me on Instagram. I remember when I'm trying to remember all some of the stuff I've heard before. I remember when it wasn't good, right? Like, the day was no longer bright and the night times were annoying. Like, whatever. Like, the worst parts of horrible. I remember when it was like that. And it will help, like, I back you into that. It's like I said, this is pretty cool because, like, again, I would normally just say, like, well, why don't you just imagine what you want? And I still, for the most part, think that's the best way to go. But if you're having doubt issues, left, right, center, front, back, sideways, this is actually a very cool technique that I want to remember and bring up. So I'm very grateful for whoever asked me to do this. Thank you. Because again, it's that whole, and it's still kind of forcing, well, the black belt side of it. Let's finish off with that, because I think that's beautiful. The black belt side of it is, again, imagining yourself where you wish to be, living in the end, as many of us talk. So my hand's on, right? Living in the end. I'm imagining that. I'm imagining holding each other in bed, whatever, right? And then I'm like, I remember when I used to just crave to be with you again, right? Like, that's what you're doing. You're like, I remember when we didn't live together. I remember when all I could think about was being with you. I remember when. And so while you're doing your imaginal work at night, before you go to bed, remember when things were not what you wanted. Remember when things were bad. Remember when things were angry. Remember things when, whatever your thing is. Go to bed with that smile on your face, holding the love of your life, remembering when you weren't holding the love of your life. and you'll have much better dreams, I assure you. Powerful stuff. I remember when. I certainly do. And I hope you do too. Going out with a great song by Maroon 5, She Will Be Loved. That's Dan Radio.